Here is a solution for question 5. Volume again is length times width times height when we're finding the volume of a rectangular prism. If you look at this truck, the back, the trailer part here is a rectangular prism, and the dimensions are given. The length is 15 feet. I just rewrote them larger here, 15 feet. The width, how wide it is here, is 7.5 feet. And then how tall it is, how many layers tall, 7.5 feet. Length times width times height. I substitute those values in, 15, 7.5, 7.5. When I multiply all three of them, I get 843 and 75 hundredths cubic feet, which can also be written 843.75 feet cubed. Either way is appropriate. Another way we can think about it, like I've been reminding you, is looking at the number of layers and how many cubes would be on each layer. When we think about that, how many cubes are on each layer on this truck? 7.5 by 15 would represent one layer. It's at the top this time, but it doesn't matter if it's at the top or at the bottom. Multiplying those two gives us 112.5 cubes, which would represent one layer, but it's tall. The truck is quite tall, right? 7.5 feet. That means we have 7.5 layers of cubes. Each layer we figured out over here is 112.5 cubes. So 7.5 groups of 112.5, when I multiply, I get exactly the same thing, 843.75 feet cubed. I think the layers help make sense of the formula. The length times the width is really how many cubes in one layer. And when you multiply by the height is telling you how many layers tall, how many of those layers you need to fill that entire object. And 843.75 feet cubed is the volume of this truck. Remember the visual of thinking about the Rubik's Cube where you can see the cubes, that visual. Here we can't see them, but that's what volume means, the cubes that fill up the space, whether we can see them or not. The measurements we're using in calculating how many could fit in there. 843.75 feet cubed.